I'm Justice Francois Rivera, Kings County Supreme Court, and I've been given the privilege of serving as Masters of Ceremonies to our 24th annual Hispanic Heritage Month celebration by the Cervantes Society. 24th. We've all heard the word, you know, I was dating her, I didn't like her, so I chopped her. You heard that before? So chops are something we eat for the pork chops and lamb chops. Chopped is a verb. Getting chopped is not nice. Right? So we have someone here that took the concept of chopped to a whole new level. We're graced with the presence of Suzette Montalvo, Puerto Rican, who's a chef. So how do we know about Suzette Montalvo? Well, she owns my Anewyoricanthing. Feel free to go there, the food is fabulous. And the way she reached the public eye is she was on the show Chopped. Now, you know when you're on a show like that, they'll say to you, well, you know, we didn't like the way that tasted, so to the box truck, baby, you know, or variations of that. There's always judges. And she went pretty far, but she didn't win. At some point along the way, she got chopped. However, what inspires me about Miss Montalvo is she is a chef. Her fame is, her star is rising. You can't look in the internet without finding her. So pretty soon she's going to be a household phrase. And why? Why has that happened for her? Because she had a dream. And the dream had to do with having food that people would enjoy. It's a New York thing, but sort of a Anewyorican thing. And her star's rising, continues to rise. And the most exciting thing about it is that if I go over to a restaurant, she's got to treat me really nice, right? And I'm going to get the best food. So would you please join us at the podium, and please tell us some remarks about your story. We can't wait to hear it. Ms. Montalvo?
Thank you very much. That made me chuckle. Hi, my name is Suzette Montalvo, and I'm very honored to be here with you today. Thank you to the Cervantes Hispanic Society for having me. A special thank you to Ed. Hello, I had no idea, speaking to him while he visited my food truck one day, that I would be here today. Thank you to Luz. It's been a pleasure meeting you and speaking with you. So when I started to write this speech, I read it to my daughters, you know, my good friends, my husband, and they all said basically, dig deeper. You have a story, girl, tell the story. So, armed with the many comments, I did not read this version to them, so wish me luck. I was born in Spanish Harlem in 1964 to Gladys Pavon and Jose Luis Feliciano. No, not the singer. This may have been a different story. My abuela Anewyoricanthing Gonzalez was born in Caguas, Puerto Rico. And that's where my story really begins. We were thick as thieves. Our days were spent in the kitchen. She loved to cook, and this was the place that stories would be told and laughter was. As a young child, I spent a lot of time with my abuela, and the most vivid memories I have with her shopping a la marqueta in Spanish Harlem. The sights and smells of this place still make me smile. The live chickens, the pigs, vegetables, the noise. It was also exciting as a child. It was an explosion of sights, sounds, and smells. And inevitably, after those shopping trips, I was always treated to my biragua, cherry, of course. My abuela's love was shown through her cooking. That's where the love goes into it. It's felt when your special favorite meal was prepared. But I want you to understand, I was no cook. I was always in the kitchen, always the helper, but never the cook. I never actually started cooking until I got married. Then I was on the phone with my abuela and mother to show me the way. Although my abuela has passed, I still have my mother, thank goodness, because I'm always on the phone going over recipes. Now, if you're a child of these Puerto Rican mothers, you know, there's no such thing as measurements. Todo es de ojo. Everything's by eye. Or my favorite, when making rice, if the rice spoon stands up straight, you have enough water. So I find myself these days explaining to my daughters how to cook, using that same darn rice spoon as a measuring tool for everything. Yeah, they get angry with me, and it still makes me laugh. I'm now my mother and abuela. I don't know how that happened. I always get the same response from them, which was mine as well. I need real measurements, please. Now I have this little book that I wrote down recipes collected from my mother and abuela. If you could see this book, it has no measurements. It just has notes. Inch of this, rice spoon of that. Actually, if anybody bumped into this book, they would never be able to crack the code of these recipes. But over time, I did learn, and actually it came pretty naturally. I guess somehow, sitting in that kitchen with my abuela cooking was absorbed into my skin and soul. Now, my mother and abuela, they were cooking addicts. I mean, these two women together, it was something special as I look back. I realized how truly lucky I had been to have experienced those moments. Who else walks in after school, in an apartment, with a pig upside down dripping blood into a bucket? So my mother and abuela could make morcillas, and then proceed to season this full-size pig in my living room to take to my Uncle Jimmy's house upstate to do a pig roast, like they were in a campo in Puerto Rico. I don't even want to know how they got that pig in the elevator without any of my neighbors seeing it. And yes, I did help make those blood sausages, which explains why I can't eat them. Or how abuela would come home with a live chicken, snap its neck, pluck its feathers, in the kitchen the size of a closet. I mean, she understood organic cooking before it became a thing. She made her sofrito every day. No such thing as making a batch and freezing it. But later, she didn't play that. It was going to be fresh. Just like that fresh killed chicken and that soup. Oh my God, I can taste it right now. And let's not forget the hours spent guardando for pasteles. Back then, before the pasteles machine was around, a lot of blood and skin went into that masa. And these were the times you heard the stories of your life, of your family's past, when you realized your mother, your titis, your tios, they were young. Your abuela was young. I recently spent a day with my mother and my titi Olga and my eldest daughter to make pasteles. Titi Olga tienes unas manos de oro, and I wanted to learn. Magical was the word I'd have to use. Here I am, trusted with the torch. She even gave me her pasteles machine. It was like she was passing a baton, and I had to make her proud. So getting a food truck seems like a natural course of events for me, right? No, not even a thought. Not a dream, not even a passion, really. The idea didn't come right away at all. Now, I come from a long line of great cooks, granted. My father's mother, Julia Viscaranto, another amazing abuela, great cook. My father and grandfather, great cooks. They actually owned restaurants. So being a chef, I guess it was in my blood. Being an entrepreneur, definitely in my blood. My husband bought a hot dog cart back in the 90s, and I thought he was crazy. Actually, I really wanted no part of it. However, I did make the onions for him, which, by the way, I hated. I told him I don't want to make these onions anymore. I'm tired of this house smelling like onions. I'm smelling like onions. He looked at me like I had lost my mind. And he said, Buki, everybody loves your onions. You got to make the onions. So yes, I did keep making those darn onions. Now, my husband and I have always tried something new. We even own a consignment shop. And I want you to know he's the adventurous one in this relationship. He's always looking for a side hustle, as most Boricuas are. He's willing to try anything once, thank goodness for that, because over the years, that has given me the same adventurous spirit. So true to form, my husband, the side hustle extraordinaire, wanted to sell coquito a la marqueta. They were having a holiday fest. Now, we don't have a liquor license, but I was toying with the idea of selling coquito as a mix, like a margarita mix, like a pina colada mix. I had big dreams. So he thought this was a huge risk. But I thought, if I could impress and win over Puerto Ricans in Spanish Harlem, in their hood, selling coquito as a mix, no rum, which could be considered a sin by most Puerto Ricans, then we had something. Well, we sold out every single weekend, and it was amazing. So our business, Drink Coquito, was born. We started doing street fairs, farmers markets on the weekends. My line expanded to sofrito, homemade adobo, sazon. I started selling my empanadas. and I loved every minute of it. Sharing and spending time explaining our culture and history, meeting people that were delighted to see their culture represented, and to enlighten those that had never been exposed to our culture. I tell you, it was like something inside of me opened up that I truly didn't expect. So I started daydreaming. How can I make this a viable business? I mean, quit my job and make this full time. I mean, why not? I was loving what I was doing, people were loving what I was doing. Then in 2015, I decided to quit my job and take this journey. So I started doing street fairs and farmers markets across Suffolk County. So with my amazing kids pushing and encouraging us, and of course I lasted them into doing farmers markets with my husband and I. So as a family, we did it together. Was a food truck on my radar yet? No, not at all. It was on my husband's apparently. And actually, no surprise to me, he has been wanting to do this since his hot dog days. And I guess grooming me. So one day, sitting on the couch, he turns to me and says, we should buy a food truck. And I said, okay. So the Anewyoricanthing was off and running. Did I mention we didn't have a clue? I look back on that moment on that couch with my husband and I realized he had some serious faith in me. I felt as if this was such an organic way in which we did flow into a food truck, to the point where I almost felt it was inevitable. It was an inevitable moment, and this is how it was supposed to happen. Yes, it was my aha moment. Anewyoricanthing food truck was a family affair. My kids worked in the truck, pitching in when needed. My husband working overtime to keep us afloat. My brother and sister-in-law coming in from Florida to help the dream become bigger and better. My son Isaiah handing over a wad of money, it's gonna make me cry again, when I was in need, when he was only 18 at the time, and telling me, don't give up. If you need anything, you ask me. I cried for 3 days after that. My beautiful daughters, Vanessa and Kayla, cheering me on, refusing to let me give up. I mean, this was a family coming together collectively to make a dream work. Now we have employees. My oldest daughter, Vanessa, works for me. Her title is Executive Sous Chef. I love that. I mean, I have a posse. So many people that have supported me, walked me off the ledge when it got hard, refused to let me give up. Now, I've worked hard my whole life, but I always felt something was missing. I hadn't found my calling yet, and I knew I had a lot to say and a lot to do. I just didn't know what that was. So instead of asking for what I thought I wanted, I started asking God to put me on the path I was meant to travel. And wow, I never would have thought it was this, honestly. This is a shock to me still. So since I left the bus driving to God, I have appeared on Food Network's Chopped, been aired on News 12 food truck finds. I have had articles written about our food truck. I've written a cookbook. I have a YouTube cooking channel. Our followers are amazing, and every year just gets better. This is hard work, absolutely. I have never worked harder or sweat, and I do mean sweat, this much in my life. But what they say is true. When you love what you do, it's not work. An entrepreneur's life is like chutes and ladders. There's ups and downs. But you have to learn to be flexible. It's not always going to be perfect, but having a dream or a goal, or saying to yourself like I did, I have more. I need to do more. And having the courage to do it is about the most amazing thing you could ever do. I'm approached by many people wanting to know, how do I go about this food truck life? They say to me, this is my dream. What do I have to do? How do I get started? What do I need to know? My reply will always be the same, just get started. I always get a baffled look. I have no magical answers. That is, except do your research, really, but just begin. Put one foot in front of the other. I always feel like I disappoint people with my answer, but if you have a dream, a thought, you just begin. Will you have random people, friends and family think you're crazy? Yes, you will. And that's okay. Just keep going. But what makes it all worth the journey is the young kid who comes up to my window and says, I saw you on Chopped. Or has his parents bring him to the food truck because he's a foodie, I have a lot of those, and wants to take a picture with me. Or the person who says to me, oh my God, this food tastes just like abuela's. And even the rude customer that I converted to loving my food. It's confirmation every day I'm on the right path. It's exactly where I belong. Dreams are just dreams until you put action behind them. Once action is implemented, then you have a shot of making a dream a reality. So even when you are afraid, do it anyway. When people try and discourage you, do it anyway. I found my calling in my 50s. Some people find that when they're 8. The point is, it's never too late or too early to know what your gift is. If fear of failure was not in the equation, what do you want to be when you grow up? Think about that. Let it sink in. No failure. No fear, just a clear path. Can you see it? It's never too late to find your place. We all have gifts. It's just about finding the thing that makes your heart sing. Many days I climb onto my food truck, Big Bertha, that's what I call my baby. And I say to myself with a silly grin on my face, out loud I say it, this is my life. Wow. This is my life. How awesome is this? Inspiration rearranges our energies. I used to feel devoid of inspiration when I walked into the many endless jobs I had that left me unfulfilled and mentally drained. I would walk into work every day with the feeling of hostile forces all around me. Now I stand before you with the lightness and an excitement of what the next day will bring. I wake up with delight in knowing I'm doing something I love. I'm sharing my love with every single person who comes to my food truck. So I leave you today with the final thought. Move forward in life knowing that you have a gift inside of you, waiting to be discovered. Move forward knowing you are much more capable than you think. Don't let fear stop you from discovering what you're made of. Let the light that is inside propel you forward to your own destiny. Thank you.
That was extraordinary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing story. I look forward to your future. I know your story hasn't set yet. Thank you very much.